this down. There we are. Here's my work center. So I've taken a page of this wonderful Arches water paper. It's been on my bucket list for eons. And I was watching a workshop online and it inspired me to finally go get one. So we're going to experiment. Welcome. Don't know if I should be doing that with my paper, but anyways, I am not an expert. I am having fun and I am playing. So I took a sheet and I divided it into 4 so that I can play and not be too precious with it. But what we're going to do is I've got these brushes here. First, I'm going to wet. We're going to work on wet. Spray, 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 spray. The first one. Get it all wet. Nice and soaked. Not quite sure how wet it has to be, but this one's pretty wet. Get all the bubbles out of there. Now that's really wet. So maybe that's a little wetter than I thought. Well, let's give it a few more strokes. Now I'm going to activate my paints by spritzing them with water as well. And this activates your watercolor. What I learned was, instead of dipping the brush in and then dipping it into the paint, do this first. And it activates your watercolors and makes them last a whole lot longer. And then all you need is a little tiny bit. Because wet on wet, we get to, it does it, oh, wonderful watercolor bloom. See what it's doing here? It's blooming on the page, creating these wonderful misty effects. There's a, oh, that's a cheap brush. That's already got a piece of brush hair on there. Let's take this big thick one and see what it does. I can pull it down. Pull some of this color, blend it. But yeah, it's got some gorgeous, paper's already starting to dry. So let's get some more wet on there from the sides. This is really wet on wet I'm working on here. Let's try some of this green. I'm just gonna dip it in here. See what it does. That's pretty pigmented. But I do love this watercolor paper and what it does. This is all just play. All of it's play. So nothing too precious, nothing to worry about. And I'm just gonna put some of this brown here at the bottom. Brownish green I've mixed in. So yeah, that's wet on wet. And the funny thing I learned with watercolors is it doesn't look the same when it's dry as when it's wet. So this here is going to change quite a bit. So we're going to see what happens. And the other thing, if you've got too much water or paint on your paper, you can always take a Kleenex or something, dab it, and then you get also other cool effects. So this is all just play. Look at that. Or call it wet on dry. So the paper here is completely dry. And we're taking some of the pigment here, loading her up, and we're gonna have, I'm making the paintbrush really, really wet and loading up the paintbrush. Really. So let's see what happens here. This one, let's give this a shot. I'm going to just put some water, clean water, in this paintbrush. Take some of the paint that's out of there. Soak that paintbrush. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to pull some of this color down. There. Just because I want to play. And this will help with the blending. It'll help with the edges. I'm going to keep that edge up here hard and just pull the color down. I kind of like the way this watercolor paper works. Now let's see what I do if I go like this. Just adding a couple of water drops to the sky. I'm going to add some of this blue. We're just going to work with one color on this page. And now the bottom part of here is kind of dried out a little bit more, so add another layer of blue. Nice and soft. Yeah, so it's a little bit different than the way this one looks. This one looks, we got a lot of feathering and blooming. Here I did when it was still wet and we had the paper towel or the Kleenex texture. And now since this is a little bit dry, I'm going to add another layer of green at the bottom of that one. Just mix it all up. Again, by no means am I an expert. I'm just playing. Oh. I am no expert. Just having fun. And who knows what these are going to look like when they're done, when they're dried. So what I'm going to do with this one is da 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 da. So here we are. I'm going to activate the paint again. Nice and wet. Here we go. And in the top, I'm just going to do a kind of like a sunny, this is just going to be dry. Let's put some more. Load her up. And this is all metallic color, which is kind of different. Just a different one I'm playing with. Let's add orange in there. Again, it's a cheap dollar store brush. This paper is very, very heavily textured. So it's a little different than what I'm used to working with. These are watercolor brush pens. I'm going to try something different with this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the landscape and then I'm going to spray the water on and see what it does. So these really give you an opportunity to play. Next, what I'm going to do is, with this set here, also came a watercolor pen. You fill the bottom with water, which I forgot to do. So I'm going to quickly go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. The watercolor pen is now filled with water. And what this does is when you squeeze the pen, the water comes out the brush. See? Comes right out the brush. So I've got ooh. And also we can leave some white spots. Just leave some white spots for some extra focus, extra texture. So I'm just going to leave the white spots there. And to clean this one, it's simple. You just strain some of the water out, dab it on your cloth or your dabbing cloth. So the very next one here is, I kind of like working with the clouds on this one. So we're going to take this just draw some blues. I'm very loose. Very loose with this. Squirt. Activate it. Let's see what it does. Oh, maybe not really what I wanted, but again with watercolor, if it's not doing what you want, dab it with towel. And let's go in this way. Since I'm just gonna wet this again. Thing I like about this watercolor pen is I can just apply some clean water to and let's draw some clouds in there. So we've got some drama right along here, which is kind of cool. So we'll keep some of the white parts of this paper just to keep some of that drama in there, which is kind of neat. There we go. Well, this is interesting. Some of the purple kind of bled into the orange. We'll see what that looks like when it's dry. And we'll see what that looks like when it's dry, when all of these are dry. But anyways, there's some playtime. Thank you for watching.